A local man who's planning a conference right here in Chicago to focus on what he says is the real truth about the climate. Dan Miller is with the Heartland Institute. And very quickly, just give us a brief background of who you are.
I'm Dan Miller. I was at the Chicago Daily News, the Chicago Sun-Times, founded Crane Chicago Business as the first editor, and was chairman of the Illinois Commerce Commission for 5 years.
And now you're with the Heartland Institute.
Right.
You guys have a team of scientists, politicians over there in Copenhagen.
Jan.
Not
No.
politicians?
No,
okay.
no.
Okay, so just trained scientists over there in Copenhagen who are basically disputing what is going on there and what they're discussing. What are they telling you as far as what they're finding out there?
That the conference is unraveling right before their eyes. You know, just 5 months ago, this conference in Copenhagen was seen as the last best hope of the world to bring policymakers and scientists together to write a successor treaty to what the Kyoto Protocol was from 1997. Well, since then, we've discovered that the data that the global warming alarmists have been putting out has either been manipulated, or contrary data has been deleted, or skeptics who had a different point of view have been ostracized or not even allowed to publish their work. So the whole thing is beginning to unravel. That's against a background of developing countries trying to figure out how can we get our hands on money that's in successful countries, larger countries, developed countries. And then we've got India and China refusing to ratchet down their economies at all in the name of global warming, or to genuflect at the altar of this religious fervor that really seems to be driving the alarmist point of view.
You know, it's really hard for the average citizen to make sense of everything they're hearing, because there's the things that you just said that contradict what has been, I think, a body of discussion that has been out there in terms of whether global warming is a factor or not. I mean, I'm just looking right here at a UN report, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It says, quote, "It's very likely that increases in man-made greenhouse gas emissions have caused most of the rise in globally average temperatures since the middle 20th century." So who do we believe, and how do we make sense of all of these things?
Well, that's the whole point, David. Science isn't a matter of consensus. You don't vote on it. You make a hypothesis, you test it out. If there's data that doesn't jive with what your hypothesis was, you publish that as well. What we've seen at the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the UN group, is that they've hidden data, they've deleted data, they've manipulated it in some way. So you don't really know what that data says. How can you possibly?
Let me read you a quote from one of the CEOs here, James Murdoch at Wall Street, and tell me what you think. He did an op-ed piece for the Wall Street Journal. He goes, "You do not need to believe that all climate science is settled or every prediction or model is perfect to understand the benefits of limiting pollution and transforming our energy policies as a gradually declining cap on carbon pollution would do." You agree with that?
Yeah. The science is so... there's so many variables in what's going on in the atmosphere, in our lives and everything. There's so many variables that to risk an enormous tax on the world economy, on the U.S. economy now when everything is so fragile, is absolutely preposterous. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
Tell us about the conference your organization is going to be holding right here in Chicago.
We will be having the 4th International Conference on Climate Change. This is a conference that it includes skeptics, but it also includes people who are full-fledged alarmists. We bring them together. This is the 3rd one. We've had 2 in New York, 1 in Washington, D.C. We bring politicians. There you get them jammed. But mainly it's a collection of scientists. It's open to the public. Anybody can come. It's going to be May 16 to 18. We should have about 1,000 attendees. We'll have 70 scientists. The elite scientists in climatology throughout the world will be here to discuss what's going on and to look at the science in an objective way.
Debate is always good in every place.
Absolutely.
Yes, what's the problem?
Thanks for making time
Thanks,
for us,
Dan, for
Mr.
coming
Miller.
in.
Get the John calculator out. There are new deficit numbers to tell you about.
And why the men's rooms at